Would y'all ever have an orgy together with your husbands?
Priya,
She tried.
I'm actively trying to have an orgy because you haven't seen Nav yet, but wait till you fucking see him. His body goes crazy. His face card always slays, never declines. The Nav's dick is like at least 10 inches.
She's like an embarrassment, like a huge embarrassment.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it how it is. When a wife is publicly raving about another man's big, thick dick, she ain't being funny. No, she's telling you exactly how she ranks her own husband. What she really is saying is, my husband doesn't fuck me right. I don't fantasize about him. She's announcing to the world, I don't fear his reaction because he's in the cuck chair watching, eating popcorn.
Like a summer with essence, just steps up your elegant grace. Beauty with brains puts the world in its place. They light the mic, that truth ignites, burning through the fake in the dead of night. Feminism shaking, red pill faking, they're breaking every chain the culture's making. No sense, no saints, no soft disguise. They see through the games and the alibis. They're not here to please, they're here to lead. Truth and balance, that's the creed. No one's a boom. Energy of truth on fire. They're calling out the world's desire. From fake ideals to more decay. They're lighting up the modern age. No one's safe, not the church, not fame. They're flipping the script, rewriting the game. Love and logic, heart and soul, saving the truth for this nation's soul.
From Priya. Would y'all ever have an orgy together with your husbands?
Priya,
She tried.
I'm actively trying to have an orgy because this couple is so
Whoa.
fucking good looking and you haven't seen Nav yet, but wait till you fucking see him. His body goes crazy. His face card always slays, never
Yeah,
declines. And it's kind of weird because I'm talking about your husband.
No, I kind of love it, but
I don't think she's talking about her man.
Okay, maybe.
No,
I
she's
just
not.
know that Nav's dick
She's talking about
like
a different
at
guy.
least 10
Her
inches.
guy.
You would only be
Whoa,
down
whoa,
for an
Husband.
hold up.
but
Whoa.
She's like embarrassing her husband.
This breezy is talking about another man's dick.
She's like an embarrassment, like a huge embarrassment.
This
And this is not even like anybody should know this is wrong to like do that to your husband on freaking on tape.
like who it gets worse.
I'm like, us for it? Okay, maybe.
I just know that Nav's dick is like at least 10 inches.
You would only be down for an orgy if we
Or
did
it's
it.
thick. It's thick.
How do you and your husband
Okay,
split
okay,
finances?
We
like
don't. We don't. If you want to work, all for that. But like any man that doesn't want to have a joint bank account or isn't being transparent with his account, that's a fucking red flag. His money is our money.
you
and
talking
my
about another
money
man's
is my
dick
money.
is
I
a
know
big
Hold up,
red
hold
flag.
up. You
in my
missed the
life
best
personally
part. You missed
that
the
have been with
best
guys
part.
that weren't
She
trans-
says she got to
Hold on.
rewind that. You have to
and my
rewind that.
money is my money. I know so many girls in my life personally that have been with guys that weren't transparent about money and they ended up being terrible in other aspects and like people ended up breaking up in divorces. So that is actually my number one. They must be generous with their finances from day one. That means paying for the first date and everything. I know that it's rough out there, inflation. Like, I'm not saying to just like waste it on every single girl, but if a girl is special, you should be courting her properly.
So she
What
did.
makes
For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is
You
Justine.
gotta
I'm a
hold up,
stay-at-home
hold up,
wife,
hold
but I
up.
don't.
We gotta touch on that because what she
what
did.
makes her special?
No. What she did was she said, my husband's money is our money.
Money. Yep.
And my money is
Is
my
my money.
money. Okay.
Yep.
And then the crazy part is she thinks that this is normal because she hears it from everyone. She's not understanding that what she basically said, okay, is like, I don't care about helping my husband. I'm going to take everything he has and I'm going to keep anything I make and I'm not going to spend it on him. Like that's a one-sided thing right there. Like she doesn't realize what she just said. I don't even think
You
she
know,
gets it.
she basically telegraphed to every woman that, listen, your man is your bitch. And if if he doesn't want to be your bitch and give you his paycheck and you don't get to give him anything, then he's not a
Yeah.
real man. That's
Yeah,
what she's saying.
yeah. That means that if her husband struggles in any which way or form, she's not going to help him. That's what she admitted to out loud.
Now, it gets even worse.
Special, you should be courting her properly.
For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Justine. I'm a stay-at-home wife, but I don't cook or clean because I don't feel like it. And
So what the fuck do you do? You better be popping out babies.
No, but
Or-
I see it worse than that. Like, okay, she is bragging about not taking care of her husband, her home, her family. She thinks this is cool. Do you understand? Do you see that how like this is
Yeah.
she thinks this is cool to say this. Like this is a joke to her.
Think about this. She's also costing her husband more money because either he's doing all the cooking and cleaning and all that shit, or he's outsourcing it.
I don't even
And
think
he's
it's
paying
that.
somebody else.
I think she's probably doing some sort of these days women do not cook and clean all day
Well,
every day. They don't. Okay, they're doing it here or there. They're getting
you
a
do it
house.
there-
But
She
it's
says
the
she doesn't
fact
do
that
it at all.
the fact that she's making a joke. She thinks this is cool. She thinks this is how, and it's true. It's getting her attention. I mean, she's getting exactly what she wants. It's a game for these women today.
Well, see, this actually brings a question I'll ask you afterwards. But what she's doing, think about it. If you're a stay-at-home wife, you ain't cooking, you ain't cleaning, you ain't got no kids to raise, then who's cooking the meals? Probably you're outsourcing that, whether it's DoorDash or something. Who's cleaning the place? You probably got cleaning ladies that come over and do all the deep stuff and all the crazy stuff. So then you are costing your husband more money to pay for these things that you could do
It's a
yourself.
lifestyle. They
Yeah.
want the lifestyle. They want the glam. That's exactly what women think of marriage today.
my husband is a full-time stand-up comedian, and he buys me lots of nice.
Do you know what my fucking husband just tried to do to me?
Yeah.
No, we're leaving. Shut up.
Shut up. Do you see the look? Do you see how angry she looks in there? Shut the fuck up, Jules.
It's a game. It's a game. She thinks this is funny. This is how she's getting attention, and it's true. It's how she's getting attention. This is
We're leaving in Paris in 5 hours, so tensions are a little high. We also just redid our closet.
This is all her closet now.
Are you kidding me? Do you know how much fucking space he has? Look, utilize the shelves, you idiot. So
It's my house.
Mhm.
Okay, this part, I'm not sure if you heard. I want you to hear what she says, right? Because this is telling.
utilize the shelves, you idiot.
So I was a virgin too when I met him.
And you have no idea.
You gotta get him ignorant.
She said she was a virgin too when she met him, right?
Yeah, and then
She was a virgin.
Sometimes I get so painfully nostalgic for college. So for context, I went to college from 2011 to 2016. I was
Mhm.
popping my pussy and living
Oh.
my best life in these white boy frat houses. And I had a roster of guys that I would rotate through.
Do you know why I think I have like a good marriage?
so
Her husband
embarrassing.
was under the impression he married a virgin. But little did he know, she was popping her pussy at these white boy frat houses. Good catch.
I think it's because my husband's never here.
Why her marriage is so good? She doesn't. It's because her husband's never there.
Oh my god!
Now watch how she ghosts him when he tries to kiss her.
Did you guys know this? Yes. Oh my god! How big is this?
Big enough for you to shut up every time I tell you.
Thank you. What do you say?
Look good, Mr. Armstrong.
Look at that. Every single time he tries to go in for a kiss, even when he proposes. Curb.
On Saturday when I saw her, I said, Daria, do you know? And she said, I don't know anything. I don't know
Good
anything.
liar.
Then she's a good liar.
That's a friend.
That's a friend.
She's a good liar.
That's a friend.
No, I don't want those gifts.
I know.
I don't want those
Why
gifts. I
not?
don't want those
I don't like.
kisses.
I don't care about. I like tangible goods.
Nah.
Obviously, my name keeps getting brought up by either women or men. Lately, it's these red pill guys because I said my money, or what did I say? His money is our money, and my money is my money, which is a common saying. Whatever. I'm not even gonna elaborate because I don't fucking care.
You see?
Andrew
You see, I
Tate
don't fucking
or these
care. You see?
fucking red pill podcast guys, like when they tell you something, when they ask you to jump, you say how high. You're still not a man either way. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you're still a little bitch beta boy doing whatever these fucking men tell you. Why are you mad at us? Why are you mad if me and my husband
So hold
are
up, hold
cool
up.
with each other? If we
So if she's gonna tell a complete stranger online, you're a bitch beta boy, can you imagine what she's doing to her husband?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He
That's
has a
why
touch there.
whenever you see women online going at each other, remember this is what they're doing to a complete stranger that they have no emotional attachment to or any type of investment to. Can you imagine somebody that they're more connected to or have an investment with these people? Like their husbands are miserable.
Oh, I no, he thinks he's won. I think he thinks he won the prize. You know.
both make jokes at each other's expense. The difference is my husband will go on stage and say whatever the fuck he wants about me. No one has anything to say. It's like, oh my God, it's so funny, it's so relatable. But then I come on TikTok and I make jokes and now you have a fucking problem? Because I don't have a mic in my hand? Like, make it make sense. I'm not here for the fucking misogyny. One thing that I will say, being canceled by
Misogyny.
dislike people doesn't affect me as much because I genuinely don't respect them. I'm just like, okay, like talk about me all you want, drive traffic to my page. Our YouTube video, our podcast episode that me and Nahal did got 37,000 views,
There
which
you
for
go.
us is
You
really
see?
fucking high because
It's a
we're
joke
just
for
starting
them.
out. So I'm like, okay, keep driving traffic. I'm not even going to read any of the comments. So it's like, what are you doing this for? Like, there's no way you can be happy. Like, you cannot be happy just doing this. And I feel like if you honestly just tried to find God, worked on yourself, went
This is
to
their favorite
therapy,
line.
you would feel
Let me
so
pray
much
for
better
you.
than what these like little cockroaches and parasites try to tell you. Honestly, and like make it make sense. I'm not here for the fucking misogyny.
Everything's misogynist. Matter to the tone, girl. I could just blink and you claim it's oppression I own.
All right. This out here.
Yeah, that's not a
That's
red flag. That's a
a
whole fucking grenade. Like
that's a
she's a whole grenade. Like everything. But you know that the crazy thing about this is that this is being tolerated by him. Like you have to really, really. He's the
exactly.
one that's not.
Okay, so let me just say this right out the gate. Remember how I said build a bitch? Wives don't come pre-made. They are built. He built that bitch. That's his
Yeah.
problem. He created it. I don't feel bad for him. I really don't. He tolerated it. He put her in the environment for that behavior to grow.
Yeah.
On
And
your own, buddy.
he hasn't even said take it down, like, or don't post that, you know. So there's a free for all. Like he's
Oh,
actually engaging with her in the video, some of these videos, allowing her to put that stuff up. So
so let me tell you what I think about all this. This was intentional. Everything she said, people knew that people were going to react this way. I don't necessarily believe that this is how she really is. I think she said the most triggering, fucked up shit she could say to get this reaction.
yeah.
Now, let's say this is her. This is how she really is. Well, then you know what? That's her husband created her. This is a build a bitch works both ways. You could build them great, or you could build them like her.
I think what we have to really focus on and point out from this is that women today think it's cool to be a feminist. This is
Well, yeah.
It's encouraged, it's glamorized, it's promoted. So women think that what they're saying, this is how they're getting all the clapbacks. This is how they're getting all the thing. And then I know because like for me, when I'm over here telling women, no, listen to your husband, you know, when I talk about submission, when I talk about cooking and cleaning, it's the opposite. It's oh, that's so ew, and oh my goodness, you're so wrong. Like, so I know that this is how women are being built up today by society. This is intentional.
Yeah. And they're encouraged. You know, they are not only encouraged, they are being praised because
Yep.
they're being strong. She's being a strong, independent woman.
Yep.
You
That's
know,
exactly
like,
what it is. They call, like, for anything I say, they call me a pick me. I'm a pick me
and
because
it's
of what I
like,
say.
here's the thing. This is what I think will end up happening. If this is true, and this is how she really behaves, I think this whole issue is gonna do one or two things. Yes, it's gonna blow up their YouTube and all that stuff, but he is gonna wake up. He's gonna have that wake up call, and it's gonna be very bad for him. Okay,
Well,
because
I'll tell
this
you what's
face
gonna play
right
out.
here, this face, he's confused. You see that? Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I'll tell you what's gonna happen because this usually happens. It's not that he'll wake up one day and have a light bulb. It's that there'll be something that happens within the relationship that will require more of her. Okay. And I see this a lot with women. If they have to go backwards in their lifestyle,
Like
whether he
downscale.
exactly, whether he let's say he no longer does what he has to do, right? He's going to move and transition into something else. He's going to have to take a hit, and that means a backwards in the lifestyle. He won't be able to keep up the supply. It's unsustainable. And that's when the problems start. And that's when he's like, "Oh shit, okay, now I'm seeing the true colors."
I think this is gonna be the face when he walks in and he sees her getting dicked down by somebody else. Because I'm sorry, just that first segment was enough to
Yeah,
call
but
it off.
women don't automatically just cheat. They wait till he's no longer doing the lifestyle that they want, and then they substitute it. They find they
Uh,
monkey
un-
branch.
unless she doesn't think that there's going to be any consequence that she will face for doing so,
Mm,
because the way that she's already talking to him and the way that there has
mm,
recourse in this bad behavior, she probably thinks that she could get away with anything. She could probably suck a dick in front of him and him sitting there asking her, "Babe, do you want me to hold your hair?" I bet you that's what she thinks it will happen. And that's the reality that he has given her. There's never been a consequence. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into this whole topic today about um dating with clarity, because this
yeah.
motherfucker can't see shit. He has no clarity. He is blind. He's like Ray Charles status. Okay.
This is a lack of leadership, 100%.
So in today's show, we're going to get into something that not too many people realize and way too many people ignore until it's way too damn late. And you're sitting there listening to your wife on another podcast talking about
Mhm.
how big another man's dick is,
Right.
potentially. Right. So,
Right.
no, this is not dating with hormones. This is not dating with fantasy. We're going to be talking about dating with clarity. And let's start with the basics. Is it about looks and money, Gia?
No. That's not valuable. That's not really valuable long term. No.
You're right. It's not enough
Mhm.
because let's be honest, fellas, money goes away. All right. Money goes up, money goes down. You may have it sometimes, you may lose it sometimes. And ladies, we already know that looks fade. As beautiful as you are, looks do fade and it transitions over time, and that's part of life. So we know that your looks and your money and your resources are not going to sustain your relationship. They may get you there in the beginning, but they're not going to think it's not going to be what's going to make that relationship last. But you know what doesn't fade away? Character. Character is consistent. Character doesn't go anywhere. You could date a man with a six pack and a woman with a pretty face and a slim waist and nice rack, but and still end up in living in hell because you never check their values. You know? So Gia, like people run, they look great on paper. Some people just
Mhm.
they got all the accolades, they hit all the check marks, right?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
if their habits are screaming, run away.
You're only going to see their real self when you ask the right questions. And you have to say no often. So like whenever I talk about the difference between somebody who is in a long-term relationship or a successful long-term relationship versus somebody who is in a heartbreak or continual heartbreak, like they're always cycling through people, I always know what it is. Like I know usually what happens is you have that the one that goes through heartbreaks, they're focusing on superficial things like height, money, status, hairlines, degrees. None of that shit matters. Like a guy's height doesn't matter. Okay. How much money he makes, that can go away tomorrow. Status, fame, that's definitely a negative. That's actually a curse, if anything. Hairlines, like bald guys are great, hairlines are not important. Degrees, women care about the degrees. Guess what? Most of them end up doing nothing with their degree, and then they're left with the debt, So the things that actually matter that sustain long-term relationships are your shared values, your mutual respect, the healthy conflict resolution, right? Can you speak like an adult just because you disagree and actually come up with a solution at the end so it doesn't keep happening? Clear communication. Are you able to talk without getting irate and emotional? Shared vision for the future. That takes years. That takes, decades. Like even me and my husband took decades before we actually were able to get where we wanted to in our goals. And in that time span, there was a lot of failures along the way. And those failures meant setbacks. Those failures meant that our lifestyle had to come down. It had to simplify. We had to do without. And in that time, I had to sometimes pick up jobs to handle that and take on that. So this is why there's a lot of people with expectations and goals, but they're not understanding that requires sacrifice. It doesn't just happen. It's not just given, right? So you need to know that going in. And then last, your genuine attraction. Are you really attracted to the man or do
the
you want
lifestyle.
the wallet? Correct.
So here's what we're going to be getting into. This is going to be some no non-BS. We're going to give you 10 plus questions that cut through all the performance of the first date and expose what's real. You're going to learn how to spot the red flags before you bond, before you invest, and before you commit. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do it. So the first question that you want to ask, and this could be even on the first date, you want to find out how that person was raised, okay, their upbringing. And one of the first questions I like to say is your parents still married? Are your parents still together? Do you encourage?
Let's do this. Hold on. We'll role play. Okay, let's go. Ask.
Are your parents still married?
Fuck no. They haven't been married since I was like a year and a half. You crazy? They can't stand each other.
What do you feel about that? Like, do you wish they had stayed together? Or are you happy that it
No,
turned out?
they made my life a living hell being divorced.
So this reveals when somebody says something like that, like let's say that's the response. What that tells you is like they had a bad upbringing. They had a bad example of a marriage. Okay. And usually what that tells you is that they also do not view marriage in a good light. They don't see it as a positive thing. So for them, commitment in marriage is a boundary that they don't even want to get involved in. Most times, they haven't had good examples.
I agree. Let me add to this. So now I would say it's more likely than not when you hear about this, especially when they say my parents were horrible. They were great parents, but they were horrible husband and wife. They didn't, like what this individual is indicating is that committing with me is going to require grace because I did not have the proper example on how to play the role that I'm supposed to be getting myself into. I'm going into this blind. So you have to already come with an understanding that this individual does not know how to play their role, whether it's the wife or it's the husband. They lack understanding.
Correct.
They
Now
lack an example.
let's say they said something like, well, my parents are still together, but I wish they had gotten divorced because they don't really, there's no marriage there. They don't have fun, like that's another huge red flag because what that tells you is that they are encouraging divorce. They think their parents should separate simply because they're not in a good relationship. That's another that you have to watch out for stuff like that. It's like the little tiny messages.
What about this one? Do you believe that marriage is permanent or is it optional?
This is another one. So this one reveals, like, I'll give you an example. If somebody says, well, I think that marriage is a social construct. Okay.
See, that's a big red flag for me because I look at it as a covenant.
Correct. Because here's the thing. Yes, our marriages today you know, built off status and off the wrong things? Absolutely. But that's because the people going into them. That's not because of the actual institution of marriage. So if somebody comes at you and says, well, to me, you know, there's no reason to get married. It's a social construct. It's stupid. I don't see any reason for it. What they're basically telling you is that they're not really there for commitment. They're going to be there as long as their desires are met or as long as they're happy at the
As long
time.
as it serves them.
But as soon as there's struggle, there's no reason to stay. So that's another red flag.
So when is it, but here's another question. When is it acceptable to walk away from a committed marriage? Because
Mm,
we could say that marriage should be for lifetime and that you
mhm.
should, love your partner or your spouse, because everybody likes the word partner, and unless they're gay getting it up the ass, we don't do partners. Okay. So they say they're supposed to love their spouse unconditionally,
Right.
but that we know that's flawed,
Right.
because with 54% of divorces happening, people
Mhm.
getting married, that unconditional love is far. You know what I say that people love unconditionally, in my opinion? They love their dog and their
Mm,
kids. That's it. I don't think spouses come loving unconditional, because it took conditions to get you to the
correct.
altar to begin with. So if
Correct.
those conditions
Well,
change or
even
diminish,
yeah, even God has conditions.
he
Even God
did.
himself has conditions. So it's not fair to say that love is unconditional because yes, while you might love somebody even if they're gone or they leave you, you wouldn't continue to enable bad behavior if those conditions were not met.
And sometimes people don't realize the most loving thing you could do for somebody is to
Mhm.
separate from them,
Mhm.
because keeping them in that relationship, especially depending on what they did. Like everybody knows that I divorced my wife, and I thought that that was the most loving thing I could have done, because I cannot no longer see her for who she was after knowing for what she did. Because I used to
Mhm.
have this other vision or view of her. Now that is shattered. My world is destroyed in that sense, and now I see you for what you are, and you don't like the way I'm treating you because of what you are. But you wish I treated you like how I used to see you when I thought you were something else. When that changed, I was like, I can't continue to keep her in this loop, because I know me, I'm not going to be able to see her any greater than what I
Mhm.
see her now. Right. And that
Yeah.
was wrong. She shouldn't have
Yeah.
to carry that for the rest of her life. So I think sometimes the most loving thing you can do is end it.
Correct. Correct.
You
And I
know,
mean, scripturally, if you want to look at this scripturally, the grounds off scriptures is infidelity. Okay. Adultery would
well, it's
merit.
sexual immorality. That's the
Mm,
real term. It's an umbrella term, because that would it's not just adultery, because a lot of people think it's just
mm.
adultery. No, if you claim home and she was fucking your dog, that would be sexual immorality,
I
right?
got you. Okay.
If she decided to have withhold sex from you, if you're in a sexless marriage, and this is a hot take, Gia, that
Mhm.
no pastor wants to hear, but it's true, theologically speaking. If you are in a sexless marriage and you have tried to troubleshoot this with her, and she refuses to be intimate, the only place that sex is moral is inside the relationship of a marriage, right? So if you are not having sex inside that marriage, that is immoral. If you are holding
Mhm.
sex from your spouse, you are being immoral. So therefore, if sexual
Mm.
immorality is grounds for divorce, as Jesus points out in Matthew 19, then guess what? Withholding sex from your spouse is being sexually immoral, which would be grounds for that divorce.
That's good to know. Yeah, I don't want to get too much off topic, but
Yeah.
I definitely think that those are grounds. And I think, you know, like when somebody says something like, "Well, marriage is optional for me," or "Marriage isn't even something I'm going to do," right? They'll say it's a social construct or whatever. What this tells me is that they're an avoidant attachment type of person. They're the type of person that anytime an issue goes wrong or they don't want to work it out, there's not a commitment there. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be married. This is not what I'm trying to get at. You don't have to be married to be in a relationship. There are some people, but I'm talking about a committed relationship. You can, whenever somebody wants to commit, they're not going to say something like marriage is a social construct because to them, marriage is commitment. And that's what it
Okay,
means to
but
them.
what about the guy that sees things going on in society today and sees the divorce court and sees things are going on. And he says, marriage is just a social construct because it means no value, because the way that all these people have shown me that when they make this commitment that's supposed to be for life, they discard it like it's nothing and they get with someone else. So it's not even that. What is the real marriage? Why do I have to get married? Why do I have to get the state involved? Why can't just me and you be us and we do our thing and we don't? Is that the same thing?
So there has to be, with all responsibility, right? All commitments
Mhm.
come with responsibility, and all responsibilities have to have accountability for not following through. So
Yeah.
you would have to be able to explain to me how you would be able to keep your end of that. Like, how would you be accountable with just living with somebody? This is
What is
where
the recourse? Where's the
right,
recourse?
exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
that would be, that'd be them, the person choosing no longer to live with you and leave you.
Mhm.
That would be the recourse. That's ultimately what divorce is. The
Mhm.
recourse is I'm removing myself from
Correct.
being in your life. That is what a divorce is. That's the recourse of them failing. So it's the same thing. A breakup could be the same thing. Now, if you're looking for a monetary or a financial reparation for said thing, then yeah, sure, you're going to need the court system to get involved with that.
I got you. Okay.
But there's still that recourse of them being separated. That's the ultimate loss.
Okay. So now, if they were to say something like, well, if the relationship turned out well and I have no problem with committing to that relationship, it's just I don't need a piece of paper to be in a committed
Yeah.
relationship. Now, that I can understand that answer. But I think that you have to determine these are the type of hard questions you want to ask, and it's sometimes in what they're not saying that gives you the answer of what they think about marriage.
Now, do you think by them saying like I don't need a piece of paper,
Mhm.
they are saying, you know what? I don't trust you, bitch. I think you're gonna leave me.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
the level of commitment, like, do you think like that's not there because they don't necessarily trust this individual to uphold their end?
Well, trust is earned. Trust is earned. So if somebody in the beginning of the relationship says, "I don't need a piece of paper to be in a committed relationship," I don't see that necessarily as a red flag. Do you?
No, no.
So, you have to understand that trust is earned. Everything is earned. It's not given. So, I don't think that saying something like that is a negative. Now, if somebody were to say the marriage, the institution itself is a scam, what they're telling me is that they don't understand what marriage is. They're looking at
Mm.
marriage as a contract of what we know of today. Yes, you're right. What we know of today in a trend, there's no, if people are going to be in a transactional relationship, then there's no reason to get married. I agree with that, because it's oh, what can I have for you? Why even involve yourself with that? But that's why, to me, and the way I've always seen it is it's a covenant. It's something that's very sacred. It's a commitment. A commitment in public. You're telling everybody, your friends and family, that you are committed to this person for life.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Does emotional intimacy with another person count as disrespect?
Yeah, this is a good one. So this is a good question to ask, because this is going to tell you whether they have boundaries and respect. So if their response to you of, do you believe emotional intimacy with other person counts as disrespect? Some people might not even know what that means. Some people might be like, what does that mean? Well, it could be simply online, talking to random dudes. If a girl's online talking to random dudes and you don't have the transparency to see that conversation, that's emotional intimacy boundaries being broken. Okay. So this is the type of question you want to ask, is
Well,
talking, or when a guy says, oh, I'm still friends with my ex and I expect my new
okay, that's
girl to be
yeah,
friends with all my exes. Let's say a guy
yeah.
says that. That means that he does not have boundaries. This is a man who not only doesn't have boundaries, but chooses his own desire over the respect of his relationship.
Well,
So
you're
you
also
have to
saying
really
that he
watch out
doesn't
for this one.
respect himself. He doesn't respect himself in
Mhm.
this sense either.
Or he
Because
doesn't respect commitment. Exactly.
yeah, because here's the thing is like if there's something that happened that was egregious enough to cause a relationship to end,
Hmm.
right? That's always going to be the elephant in the room. Now, you may get over it over time. You may could be cordial and polite, but you don't need to be their friend.
Here's another thing. If he says something like, or she says something like, "Well, I'm friends with all my exes." What that tells me is, well, why was there no like that tells me that you are okay with just walking out of a relationship for nothing. Because
Well,
that doesn't
yeah.
make any sense to me either. Like that's a huge red flag. So you have to ask them or ask them this question like what happened with your last relationship? If they say something to you like, "Well, it just wasn't fun anymore," or "I got bored," or "I don't know, we just stopped having fun together." That is a huge red flag. What that tells you is that this person not only doesn't want to work to grow in that relationship, but literally just wants things to stay the same, and when he's done and it doesn't work anymore, he's out or she's out. That's a huge red flag.
What about, like, should sexual choice have a long-term accountability?
So do you think sexual choices should have long-term accountability? This is a good one because you talk to women today, right, that go on OnlyFans and they don't think there's any accountability for the fact that they're having sex for money. Okay. They think, oh, it's the virtual world. This is just part of my job, right? No, if you have kids, guess what's going to happen? That's on the internet forever. That's going to affect your life, your husband, your family. If a guy, here's another one. Let's say a guy thinks it's okay to donate sperm
Mm.
or give sperm to somebody who wants to have a baby but doesn't want to have a baby like in a two-parent household. They want to have a baby on their own as a single mother and they just want him to donate sperm and he's cool with that. What does that tell you? That means that he's
He
cool.
doesn't care about his legacy.
Not just that, but he's cool with continuing on single parent homes. He sees nothing
Mm.
wrong with a single mother continuing on this road. This is a person that not only doesn't have boundaries or respect, but sees nothing that in society that he has to contribute to. He contributes to his actions contribute to society. So that's another
Now,
red
would
flag.
you say that this is scaled differently though between men and women, right?
Mhm.
Um, Sexual choice, because let's just face it, guys, we can go stick dicks in everything, right? As long as we ain't
Mhm.
bringing no diseases in anymore, like we ain't got no itches and no bumps, right? Like our sexual choice really doesn't have a consequence unless there's a child being born out of that. And now we have this financial obligation to this woman and our child because of a one night stand, right? That's when
Um,
your sexual choice has that accountability. But
we
for
all know
most women don't care if a guy has a body count.
Well, we all know that the way a man bonds is through sex, right?
Mhm.
We can all agree with that. Okay. We also know that when a wife withholds sex or a girlfriend withholds sex or anybody for that matter in a relationship withholds sex, it shows a lack of appreciation. We all can agree with that. Now, if we can all agree to those facts, then we cannot simultaneously hold the fact that men can have casual sex and it not affect them long term.
Oh, I definitely think that casual sex affects men long term. I
Mhm.
think it just affects them at a different rate
Correct.
than it does
Mhm.
women. And I think that, this idea that they think that we're all equal,
Mhm.
that's a problem. Because like yes, it does affect women, yes, it does affect men to the rate and to the level of degree. I think that's where it's different.
Correct. I think that it takes much longer for it to affect a man only because of what society encourages. But I do think that overall, both men and women, the more people they've slept with, the more it affects them and how they are able to bond and stay in long-term relationships.
Well,
No?
mm,
What do you have about that one?
so I'm trying to like play this out in my head because I do think that there's obviously enough evidence between the studies of like pair bonding and everything when it comes to
Mhm.
women having a harder time to pair bond than men with a high body count.
I
Doesn't mean
agree.
that doesn't mean that men that have a high body count don't also suffer from doing having a hard time to
Mhm.
pair bond. It's just the odds or the rate of it for women is just at a higher rate
Correct.
than men. So men
Correct.
are able, and this is where men are able to have that high body count but
Mhm.
still commit and love their wife, desire
They c
only their wife.
they compartmentalize better. I agree.
So now this is where I would say it is problematic for men. It would be the variety of it. Like maybe it's the different positions or the things that the other people did that they really enjoyed that his wife doesn't necessarily do all the time. That right there, that need for that variety, or that's something that he enjoyed that he's no longer being receiving, or something that he was exposed to that his wife wouldn't do, that will probably lead to something else that would be due to the negative, the high body count. So
Mm.
if you didn't know that this girl could suck
What
your
he's
dick from
missing.
behind,
Yeah, if he doesn't
yeah.
know what he's missing, correct. Mhm.
Now that he knows what he's missing, she only likes missionary, and the other one like doggy and froggy and all the other ones, right? And he has to do it with the lights off,
But
like Ray Charles.
unfortunately, what we're also encountering is men who are virgins who now start watching porn and now are exposed through sex that way. So even if they do get into a relationship, they still are wondering what it's like to do those other sexual acts. So this is a whole probably another episode, but we can go
Oh
down a
yeah.
rabbit hole with that one. So on the next question, what you would want to ask them, what makes them feel good in a relationship and what makes them feel trapped in a relationship? Because this is going to reveal a lot as well. You want to find
Mm.
out what exactly is their, this is going to help you know what their priorities are. Okay. If he says something, well, my family is more important than anything, or let's say he says, well, my motorcycle or my traveling or my work is nothing can come in the way of that. That tells you that's his priorities. Okay. So this is why this kind of question is important. Or if a girl says, well, if I can't do what I want, if I don't have freedom to dress the way I want, to go on trips, to go on girls' trips, if she says something like that, that's a clear indication that her freedom and her fun are more important than her man. So these are very, very good questions to ask.
Well, yeah, because she's indicating that, like, look, I would
Mhm.
rather have this than you. Like
Correct.
that is problematic.
So
Okay,
it'll
so
help you
what does it
recognize
expose
responsibility.
so what would you say that it exposes? I think even the framing of it.
Mhm.
Why do you feel trapped in a relationship? You should
Mhm.
have wanted into this relationship willingly. If you feel trapped, that means that you didn't really want to be in this thing. So you know what I'm saying? Like, so
It reveals obligations and responsibilities within the relationship. So if they say something like, well, I'm if they even answer, hey, like I mentioned, this is more important to me, or I would feel trapped if XYZ was more important, that tells you where their obligations and their responsibilities are. And regardless, I mean, it could be women, it's usually today, it's the ability to talk to who they want, post on social media when they want, not have anybody tell them how to dress or where to work. They want to still go to
mm,
work. They want to have girls' trips. These are all kind of things that are relative to what women want to do, and that will interfere with your relationship. And for men, it's, hey, he wants to go play. He wants his toys. He wants to travel. He wants it's kind of relative to a girl too. They have their similar priorities in that sense.
okay. What would you never sacrifice if this question comes up? What would you never
Mhm.
sacrifice for a relationship?
Yeah. So this is a really good one.
You know what my answer would be? My freedom.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Mhm.
because I look at it like in the sense like disrespect. If you put me in a situation where you are jeopardizing my freedom, then you're telling me that you don't care about me.
So a red flag would be an answer like they don't want to share on core values, or they don't want to handle or sacrifice their needs for the other person. So this is kind of that
Mm,
would be a red flag. And I give you an example, like they say something like, okay, um, my travel, it would come first. Like if somebody wanted me to sacrifice traveling or my work for the relationship, I would have to be out. Like that's to me that's a red flag, because what that tells me is that you're putting that ahead of your spouse or your mate. What do you think? What would be another one for you?
um, um, can you hear me?
Yep. You're a little fuzzy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think for me, like, what would be the other thing? It's like if we're not in alignment in the sense of, you said values, but I'm also gonna say, yeah, I think that you mean like worldview, right? Would you
Mm.
say that even means like religious beliefs? Would that fall?
Yeah.
Would you?
I think
Okay.
it would go to like if you believe in God, if you don't,
See,
you
like,
know.
I don't think I could ever sacrifice one, like I said, my freedom, but also,
But what does that mean? So let's get into this because I think
if your spouse or significant other is going to put you in a position where your freedom, your right to be
Mhm.
free outside of
Correct.
confinement, is going to be questioned for something that's not legitimate, that's a problem. I can't do that.
Correct. Or another one would be like if she has a problem with you hanging out with your friends. Like I think that that's interjecting onto your freedom. Like every man should have his circle, his
Yes.
brotherhood. You know, if she's trying to tell you who to hang out with, like that's a no-no. That's not
But wouldn't
respecting
you agree
boundaries.
that there has to be a balance to it, though?
Oh yeah, because of course,
Okay.
priorities. You got to know where your priorities are. So like a green flag, because I want to make sure that I'm talking about green flags as well. A green flag would be that there's a healthy limits, right? So like an example would be if she's like, okay, I'm gonna come to you. Okay, I'm willing to leave my country or my hometown to come to you. That shows she's willing to make a sacrifice for the relationship. If she
She
goes,
did that too,
"No, you need to
though.
come to
She did
me
that
because I
too.
can't leave or I need to be in my house or we need to, be separate." That shows me that she's not willing to sacrifice her lifestyle. So like these are
So I got mixed.
between red
I
and
got
green.
I got red and green because she did move to me from a
Yeah.
different state, way across states, and then she did all the crazy shit. So there was a mixture there, you
I mean,
know.
there's always gonna be red flags. See, this is what we need to talk about. Every single person you get into a relationship with is gonna have red flags. Every single one. There's no such thing as getting somebody that doesn't have it. It's just what red flags are you gonna be able to live with?
Well, it's also what you may call a red flag, I may call a green flag. Like, for here's a
Correct.
perfect example. And I know you agree with this, right? Girls with tattoos, bad, it's a red flag, right? Me,
You like them.
no, they if you get with me, you're leaving with tattoos, and it's not gonna be by me. I'm not gonna be pushing it upon you. You're just gonna go see me, go to the tattoo parlor, and I'm getting tatted up, right? And then eventually you're gonna be like, "Oh, I want a little tattoo." I'm like, "You should get one because I support it." I'm not gonna tell you no, and then next thing you know, when by the time we break up, you have a full arm sleeve, and then the
Okay.
last two. That's what happened to the last two. They had no tats. They leave with
And
tats.
this is why it's important for women to stay with one man and not be all over the place because now you know why.
Because now they're ruined for
No,
everybody else.
they're exactly. They that's why. They're you built your bitch. That's it.
I did.
Okay, so
Mine just is a little bit of graffiti on them.
so the next one is I think this one is super important. Okay, so I just want to say something like some people might tell me, well, Gia, like I'm not gonna be able to ask this person at dinner these questions. Well, of course not. But let's be real. How many people are going to dinner right away? Most of these people are talking on the phone, texting, they're on Snapchat, they're on dating apps. So don't tell me that you need to wait to be in person to say this. You could be asking these questions here or there while you're on dating apps, whether you're on Snap, whatever, wherever you are, you can be asking these questions, and their answer is really what's going to tell you, is this person really here for like anything real or is this person just wanting fun? Because if that person skates around, dodges, doesn't respond to you, makes it a joke, turns it into a joke, this is a person deflecting and they don't want to take any responsibility and they're not looking for commitment. So the next question that's really going to help you is how do you normally handle emotional conflict, okay? And you don't necessarily have to say it in this way, like how do you normally handle conflict? You could say something like, "Well, how did your last relationship work out? Did you guys leave off on a good hand or how did it end?"
How did
You
your
know?
last relationship work out? The bitch ain't here. She's gone.
Because this is going to reveal is whether they're avoidant in their conflict whether they are secure in their attachment, whether they can have like good conversation, whether they're fear or anxious avoidant. This is people who literally don't trust themselves. They don't trust the other person that they're talking to. So everything is like kind of walking on eggshells and are able to talk to you properly. So this is important. You
Mm.
want to find out how they handle conflict. How did their
Well,
last
okay,
relationships go?
let's role play this one because how does
Mhm,
this look?
mhm.
What does this look like? Like
Okay, so ask me the question.
no, I like to be the test dummy, so I'm really good
Oh,
at this.
okay. Okay.
Ask me the question.
How do you normally handle emotional conflict?
As in like if there's like an argument or something.
So how was your last relationship? Like, did you guys end off in good terms? Are you still friends?
If they're an ex, they're excommunicated. They're excado. They're expelled from
So
my life.
tell me why, like why that happened. Why did you guys break up? Why was it
Um,
such a why was it a bad breakup? Why?
because she was evil. She gaslit. No, I'm kidding. Like, I mean, I could go down. You know what it was? It was that at the end of the day, we didn't want the same things anymore.
Okay. And
The values changed.
how did you communicate that to her?
I didn't communicate. She just stopped communicating.
Okay. And
She just
then did
disappeared. She
you
ghosted.
did you try to contact her after that or
Oh yeah, but then the medium was the message, right? When I saw that there was no effort being made,
Mm,
I just said, okay, the writing's on the wall. I prepared myself for like the worst of, what to expect worst. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Um, but it was over a text message. Ultimately, I got this text message weeks
mm.
later and it's like, oh, I didn't say anything. I was going to be like, got the memo, but I just
Okay.
don't communicate.
So that's a perfect example of her being avoidant. That's what she did. She was avoidant.
Yeah.
She had the issue with being able to have resolution. Now, the next question, if somebody were to answer like that, I would ask them about their parents. Do you have a good relationship with your father? Do you have a good
Oh,
relationship with your mother?
me and my dad have a great relationship. He's like my best friend. Like if
Awesome.
anybody knows how, he's the only person I know that I could actually trust in full confidence of anything that I'm saying or everything I'm going through. And I know that he doesn't have an agenda other than I just want my son to, help my son get through this. Also, he's the only one that could actually probably talk to me that I would trust enough to be like, I will take anything that he says and I'll just execute it, without any like, hold on, fact check. Let me like, without any like scrutinization. Anybody else? Uh-uh. So me and my
So
dad are
that
pretty tight.
so that answer just revealed that you had a good role model growing up, okay? It
Mhm.
also it also told me that you are very much like your father. Okay? So that revealed that to me. Now my next question would be, do you talk to your mother? Are you good with your mom?
Have you seen the movie Rosemary's Baby?
No.
Okay, so it's this 1960s like horror movie of Rosemary, and she gives birth to the Antichrist, right? So my grandmother's name is Rosemary. Guess who the baby was?
Okay, so what that tells me is that you do not have a very good relationship with your mother, right?
You know what? I love my mother. I have to love her from a distance. And
Okay.
the reason is because the upbringing and things that came out later that were not truthful left a very rough issue. Like there's a child support, there's a whole, custody issue that was rough and it was based on lies. And it was really hard for me to get over that. But now, as I'm 40 and looking back, I can look back and understand that she was just as
Mm.
hurt and she had her own issues. But the fact that like her hate for my dad was greater than her love for me is that barrier. And there was no reconciliation on her end. And I figured that, you know what, I can't have that relationship with her
Mm.
because of this issue that she can never address. And the most respectful thing that I could do is not put myself or her in a situation where I will be disrespectful.
So what that tells me is that you do handle conflict, even if it's a negative conflict, constructively. Because
Oh
what
yeah.
what you just did was you said, okay, listen, I understand her. I don't necessarily agree with her, but I understand her. I still love her. If she needs me, I'm there. But I know there has to be a distance. There has to be an arm length, you know. Now, the next question I would ask you is, do you have any females in your world that you look up to that are good examples?
Oh man, I got this girl named Gia McCool. Like, she's so cool. She's too cool for school. Like,
Other than me, other than me, other than
no,
me,
yeah.
anyone else?
Like, yeah, like I have my cousins, I have my female cousins that are like really like successful, really happy in their relationships. Like I and like Lika Ospovia, I think you know who she is. I think you've seen her like pictures of her with True, because I had her do a
Ah,
True's
yeah,
interview.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
her story is amazing too. Like her and her
Mhm.
family story, very honorable. So no, there are women in my life that I do
Good.
value and I appreciate. And actually, it's funny, as I've gotten older, I have actually cherished more of the relationships with women that are platonic
Mm.
than ever before, because they bring forth more richness and value in my life when they're based off of that. I don't know. Just
So
because
this
I'm not
is
trying to get in
good.
their pants. I'm not trying to get in
No.
their pants is what it is.
Exactly, exactly. It helps you step outside and watch them from an arm's length. So you learn a lot like that. That's why I tell men, like, get out there and talk to women. Like, just treat them as one of your boys. Like, go over, say hi, talk normal. You have to do it a lot. Do it a lot, and you start to notice if you ask the right questions, it'll start to reveal female nature. Okay, so the next one that comes after this is you want to ask that man or that woman what their ideal family life would look like. What do they see themselves doing 5 or 10 years in a relationship or a marriage or a family? Like, how do they see their life? Where do they see themselves living? What do they like to do in the mornings with that person? What do they do on the weekends? This is really going to reveal several things. It's going to tell you whether you're compatible with them. Because
Okay.
when we talk about, oh, a man needs respect or a woman needs provisioning, like all those things, compatibility, whether that person has your core values and what you see going future is really what is priority. That's what you should really be looking, not height, not money, not status, not,
So you
all
ready to
these
ask
other
me?
things.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this one. Okay.
What does your ideal home life look like in the next 5 years?
Um, for me personally, the way I see it looking like, they're gonna be like two little Frenchies, right? We're gonna call them thing one and thing two, okay? And they're both gonna be able to sit in my little like side cart on my motorcycle, right? And then we're gonna go pick up some chicks. No, we're not. uh, but I'm at the point in the stage of my life where I am actually I'm content either being in a relationship or not being in a relationship. And
Mhm.
it took me a long time to get here. And so what I've been saying is that the next person, or if I ever get into another relationship by choice, because I think I could be getting into a relation by force. If they put a gun to my head, I would be, but I think that if with the next relationship, they're going to have to actually be more attractive than my solitude. And the reason that is that I enjoy the lack of conflict, right?
Mm.
I enjoy having relationships with women that are not, have this conflict right there,
Mm.
that because of some calamity or whatever. And I think that's important for guys that actually have gone through some like real rough breakups. They need to actually take time just to have platonic, engagements with women. So that doesn't mean that like they can't still have the sexual desire there. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm just saying that to establish the platonic relationship for their own, my opinion, their own inner healing, because
Mhm.
what ends up happening is that they become so damaged or jaded because of the breakup, they starting to see what all these other red pill guys are saying, right? All women are hoes, all women are trash, they're all this and all that. You know what? It was women that I have met after my horrible, bad breakups that have given me hope and said, like, no, there are actually some good quality women out there. There are actually women that are very valuable, that do meet that Proverbs 31 woman, And I would say you yourself are a perfect representation of a valued woman like that. And they are rare as rubies. So I would say that there gives you hope, but you wouldn't be able to see that if it's constantly blinded by, the engagement of other things. So for me, I I don't see me getting married anytime soon because I think marriage is for family creation. And
Mhm.
I've already had kids and I had the family. Um, I do see cohabitation or companionship, as I get older. And that still could be committed relationship, but it's not marriage, if that makes sense.
But what are your goals like 5, 10 years? Do you want to change homes? Do you want to
Oh yeah,
move?
no, I want to move out of California like yesteryear.
Okay.
I would love to have like a ranch house, like
Okay.
away from people, but quiet.
So
Um,
get out of the city, get more into the country.
Out of the city
Okay.
life, quiet, but I don't think I'm gonna slow down, like work-wise. I want to even kick it up a gear or
So
2.
what
I
you
wanna
just so what you told me is that you're looking for peace, stability, dependability.
Mhm.
Like all those things are all green flags, you know. Now, let's say you had said, and whether it's a man or woman, I want a bigger house.
Oh, hell no.
I want to make sure I'm making 6 figures in 5 years. And from there, I want to make sure I'm traveling the world, like or they say something like, and I expect that other person to contribute, and
Oh,
be
yeah.
also, you know, helping me get to those goals. Now, the next question that you need to be asking is, how do you want them to contribute? Support you, or are you actually looking for them to financially support those goals, right? So these are kind of questions that you want to find out, because it's going to tell you whether they're self-centered or
Mm.
detached from the relationship and they're more about materialism, or are they actually looking to build with you? Because let's say you as a person don't have those goals. Let's say you're looking for something more quiet, more accessible, out of the
Yeah,
city. You want a smaller house, you want less bills. Now
yeah.
automatically you're not compatible.
Well, no, it's interesting that you said that because I've had money, I've lost money. I've had houses, I've lost houses, right? Um, and I have gotten to the point where I got tired of like, why did I have all this stuff?
Mhm.
I had stuff that I didn't even need. When I started downgrading things, I was like, I had stuff still in packages, like didn't even open them and never even used them. And it's to me it's like I had so much unnecessary stuff that like I couldn't be with somebody that wanted to like have acquire things. Like, okay, I bet you have a lot of shoes, right?
I mean, I could turn the camera and show you my shoes. Like
No, 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 you don't have to.
I
Don't do
literally
that.
have like one thing of shoes. I really don't have a lot. I'm not
Oh,
okay. Here's the thing. I'm not a shopper. I can't stand shopping for the life of me. I don't even like to grocery shop. Like I do it because I have to, but I hate shopping on all levels. So for me, I've been wearing the same jeans that I have since I was 18. Okay. If my husband actually picks out more things than I do because I just hate shopping. But I'll tell you where I spend my money. I like to go to restaurants with my husband every now and then because it gets me out of cleaning and cooking and doing all
shake
that.
weight,
I can just sit with him and just like
protein.
I can just enjoy my time with him. No, I don't even have to pay for his protein. I don't even have to pay for any of that
Oh,
stuff
that's
because
right.
all that's
That's right.
sponsored. Yeah. So the only thing that I like to spend my money is that like good quality ingredients, because I do like to cook good with good like I don't even like to buy at the grocery stores anymore. Like produce, I don't even
Oh
bother.
yeah.
I go to like the
Like
farms or whatnot.
farmer's market.
And then I like to travel with my husband. And I can do that now because my son's grown and gone. Like I couldn't do that when
Mhm.
he was little. So I can do that now. So I mean, I wouldn't call myself low maintenance because every woman has maintenance,
No,
right? There's no
like
such
just
thing as low
your
maintenance.
hair alone is high maintenance, you
Exactly. There's
know?
no such thing as low maintenance. Like when women say that, I laugh because I'm like, you always have something. Every woman has her thing.
But no, and you're right. And it's like, but you have to see if whether their high maintenance level
Mhm.
matches your high maintenance level, like your threshold. Like for me, like I do not want to have a bunch of things, right? I don't like that. It gets cluttered. I'm happy with just my motorcycle and my Jeep. I don't need a flashy car. One, I don't like small cars. I'm a big guy. I get claustrophobic, like
Mhm.
I like to be free. So I'm happy with even just my motorcycle. I went years without even buying a car. I just had my motorcycle, and I was perfectly happy with that. I like quality though. So just like how you
Mhm.
see like quality food, I like quality food, right? I also like quality experiences.
Mhm.
So I could do trips, but it's not going to be multiple trips in one year because I think that's like too
Mm.
much.
It
But
can
it'll
be
be like
overkill.
Yeah, it'll be like one good quality trip and high tier, you know. But
Got you.
I also like, never mind. I won't go there.
Well, again, okay, so this is a perfect example of how you know whether you're compatible with somebody, because you have to know what they love, what they enjoy, what they like to do on their free time, if that's something that you like to do. And I think a woman that's another, like, this would be a red flag if you tell her, I like to hang out and watch movies at home, and she says, "Oh no, that's boring." Yeah, if she says something like that, that's a real red flag, because there are going to be a lot of boring moments in a committed relationship. And I know, like, one of my favorite things that my husband loves is sitting and just watching a movie. And if a woman can't just sit in pure isolation and quiet with you and be content, watch out. That's a huge red flag.
When you think
Okay.
about that, like when you say that, it's true, because
Mhm.
I am a homebody. Like,
Mm,
I don't like going out to clubs. I now if I go out anywhere, I like to hear a live band,
yeah.
right? But I don't like going out to nightclubs. I don't do that whole nightlife thing. I haven't done it in about 15 years. You know, it's never been my scene. Um, anybody I've gotten people that are like really big on that. It lasted like a day. That was it's just the one night out there with them. When I see them in that setting, I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm good. Like, never want to see them again. So I am like the stay at home, and I can't even watch movies now after being in the industry. When you see how they're made, that takes away the movie
It
magic.
does, yeah. But,
You
like,
know,
okay, for the viewers watching right now, can you see how this one question, what does your ideal home life look like? That one question could, like, open up so much for you, like a
oh my gosh.
window, right? Of, like, what they see, that, because a person's ideals, while they don't always get all their ideals, will tell you what they actually see of life or how they perceive life.
And they by just moving away from the city, they might say like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you're an introvert.
Mhm.
You don't like being around other people." Well, you're right. I don't really like being around stupid people, and there's a lot of stupid people in the world. So I look at it as I'm saving society by removing myself from all the stupid people.
Mhm.
You're welcome. Um,
Yeah.
but
So the
let's get to
next
the real hard hitting question, though. And I think this is going to be something. I think you're about to get onto it. This one is actually really interesting. And I will
Yeah.
let you go ahead and explain it
No,
more.
you
But-
you you ask the question. You tell me. What's the next one?
So it's, what does being a husband and a wife actually mean to you?
Mm,
And to me, this one is like, it depends on the individual's background, their worldview, how they actually answer this question really means this. If not, if the how where they want to live in 5 years doesn't break it, this one
This
right here is
this
this
one
is
this one
big
this is
one.
a make or break question, and I'll tell you why. Because today we are meeting, what I think is 70%. The stat says 70% of people are meeting online. They're not meeting
Yeah.
in person anymore. Okay.
Yep.
So to ask this question is an immediate, like, it's like one of those questions that will either make somebody go, "I'm out. I'm ghosting you. I'm not talking to you no more." It's going to really give you a window into what they think, because even if they don't want to be a husband or wife, like you mentioned, you're not looking to start a family, so you don't want, but if a girl were to say that to you, you would still understand, because you've been in those shoes. So you're not going to run from that question. You're going to be able to
No.
answer it. Okay. And you're going to be able to answer like how you said, "Oh, I've had my son. I'm not looking to do that right now, but I am interested in having a committed relationship." So this is
But
going to
it's because I
reveal that
also
person.
value. It's also because I also actually value what this question, like my answer for this question means. It's
Exactly.
because I don't want to portray anything that diminishes my value of these titles, these roles.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
So
know,
let's say a woman's saying this to the guy. What do you see a husband? What's a husband to you or mean to you, right? And he comes back and says something like, "Well, I don't want to get married, and I don't see myself being a husband." That reveals his perspective on marriage, on loyalty, on commitment, right?
mhm,
It dismisses marriage. That's a red flag. I mean,
yep.
now, if you were to say something like what you were going to say, I've already had my kid. I'm not looking to do that at this point. I can understand that, because you've been through it, you've done it, you're moving on.
And,
Okay.
and it's also like, to me, it's like, because I'm like I'm at this age where I guess I could still reproduce if I wanted to, but I've already raised my kids, right? They're adults now, and I don't want them to have like a 30-year-old gap between siblings, like, like, but also I'm at the point in my life where I get to focus a little bit more on the things that I need to take care of for me, or the goals that I want to have for me without having, the responsibility of a
Mhm.
wife and kids. Also, I look at it as there was a failure on my part. So, and until I'm able to like address that failure
Mhm.
entirety, I should not be looking at getting into anything like that because that person could be ready. But
Mhm.
until I actually have caught all my errors in from the previous one, until I'm aware of all the things that I made mistakes on, I should not be setting myself up or her for failure by going into something as sacred as this. And this is where I look at marriage as very important. I look at it as truly like an institution that does supposed to reflect, this relationship with the
It's a
D.
public, yeah, it's a public commitment. That's how I always see
Yeah.
it. So
But
like,
I
okay,
think it's
let's
more than
say
that though.
let's
Wouldn't
say
you
for
say it's
the
more?
listeners, it is. It's to me, it's like I said, it's sacred. It's a covenant.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about like for the listeners that don't ever want to get married or don't ever want to be a husband, that's okay. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to
Oh
judge
yeah.
that, okay? I'm just simply saying that this question is going to reveal what kind of relationship they want, okay? It's going to be able to tell you whether they're looking for commitment or they're just looking for something that's fun, okay? And that's okay too, but being transparent and opening that in the beginning doesn't let people get into false expectations because the false expectations is really what fails and really what breaks and causes a relationship to turn to heartache. Because what ends up happening is we have all these unsaid, there's silent
Hmm.
expectations, or we call them, I know you call them,
Covert
what is that? The
contracts.
covert contracts. There are things that we automatically assume and expect from our partner because online we hear the whole men are simple, men are not actually simple when it comes to the woman that they're going to have a committed relationship with. When they actually see that woman as something for the future, they are very complicated in what they need. They have a lot of needs. And I think that's important to be said because if you don't have these expectations set out loud of where you're going and where you're headed,
Mhm.
this is how people get their feelings hurt. Sex gets involved, the emotions come on, and then it causes issues.
So I want to throw a caveat at you.
Mm,
If somebody says, I don't want to get married,
mhm,
right? Like, I have no desire. Now, you could take that one or two ways, in my opinion. As we mentioned earlier, their lack
mhm,
of appreciation for marriage could be there, or it's the exact opposite.
mhm.
It's
It could be.
it could be the fact that they actually hold that thing so valuable that they don't even
Mm.
want to attempt it because they're afraid that they will fail. That they
No,
think they see a shortcoming in themselves that they
but
do not.
why though? Why though?
It,
Because
it
usually
could
they've had bad examples of it.
exactly. It could be I saw my mom and dad fuck this shit up, and I don't want to do that. I
Or
saw
I
what that
fucked
ended,
up. I had a
or I fucked
divorce.
up and had
Mhm.
divorces, and I realized that maybe marriage is just not for me. Maybe I'm the
Correct.
problem because I'm the common denominator in all my problems, right? Like, so it could also be that it could be a fear of failure, and they're masking it as like, I just don't want to be in a relationship no more, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they could actually hold it to a high regards,
Mhm.
but it's their insecurity within themselves that's
Well,
keeping them from
or just the bad examples
that
of women that
examples.
they're
Yeah.
seeing and that they keep on seeing. And I mean, I get it. If 70%, think about it like this. If you wanted to get into a business, whatever, let's just say you want to open a restaurant and all restaurants had a 70% fail rate. Would you get
Mhm.
into opening a restaurant? Probably not,
Well,
right?
like, what kind of restaurant though?
So, this is what we're dealing with today. We have a high failure rate. And
No,
I
but you're saying
personally don't
70%,
blame
but you're not saying the
70% failure
70%
rate.
is you're not saying that's the divorce rate though, right? I just need to make sure that that's what we're
No,
equating to.
it's just the failure, like how
Okay.
many divorces happen, correct.
Okay.
So, we have to understand that a lot of this is not commitment for everything today is going downhill. It's not even for relationships. It's home ownership, it's
Business.
fitness, it's business. Why do most businesses fail after 10 years? I think it's like 80% in
They
Forbes.
don't
There was
even
an
make it 5
article.
years, right? 5 years? I think they
Usually, I think
yeah.
there was like a very high, yeah, over 10 years. Most businesses don't last after 10 years. So nothing when it comes to commitment, people don't want commitment anymore. So I understand that. And that's why it's okay if you don't want marriage and you don't, but explain why. Like, don't just say, oh, it's a social construct, because no, it's not necessarily a social construct. That's not actually factual. There are
Mm.
things that women will get married for status. I agree with that. There are things that, society has created to control by using that, but is not that's not actually the fact. Like, that's leaving out a lot of the caveat.
Would you say that they actually have to ask themselves, like, what do they and this is where I think marriage is having a really hard time. I think that we inflated or equated dating to equate to marriage. There is really no difference in the sense of
Mm,
before you used to court, you see each other, whatever. You didn't move into it with each other until you guys actually got married, right? You probably didn't have sex until, well, you probably did, you just hit it, but like you didn't cohabitate and have that experience together until after the I do's. So with that being said, it's like
mhm,
nowadays, well, people just move in together. Why? Because it's cost effective, right?
mhm.
It's cheaper to move with each other and kind of
Right.
see if this thing works out. Well, if we've already done that, why do I need to go this other part? Why do I need to go any further? We already have it here. We're playing house. Why don't we just continue to play house? And that's fine. We're already good, right? So why do we need to go do the other step? So what do you say to that? So do you think that we have ruined marriage by doing that?
I think that this goes back to when women actually were virtuous. Okay. When women actually didn't have sex before marriage. Now this has changed. Okay. Like,
Mm.
I think personally, everything kind of the whole world revolves around sex. A lot of people
Oh
don't want to
yeah.
admit this, okay? But the whole world revolves around sex. Without it, we don't have babies. Without it, we don't keep the world churning. Without it, it's a mess. So sex is very, very more important than people want to admit. Now, with
Absolutely.
that, more and more women were virtuous, and that was to do what? Because we all know the statistics. We all know women who are promiscuous have trouble in so
No.
many areas, right? We know this. We've seen the
No,
data
those
on
are
this.
wholesome women. They go to church now.
So we cannot ignore the fact that women do better in relationships when they are not promiscuous, when they are virtuous. So we cannot take that out of the conversation. But now, are women doing that? Is that what's
Well,
happening? Is that what's the overall outcome? No. Now we have more and more women who have been through multiple relationships and now they want to do the marriage. Why? Now, this is the good question for a guy. You're not a virgin. You've had multiple relationships. You even had a divorce. You're a single mother. Why is marriage important to you? So this is where these conversations and these questions are going to reveal that about that person.
but let me ask you this. Does virginity equate to virtue?
Oh,
Being
no.
virtuous?
So, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. No. So, we all know tons of examples of women that were so-called virgins, but didn't have dignity, right?
Yeah.
Did all sorts of things that weren't
Mhm.
actually sex, but on the side, right? Use the virginity to act like they were superior, morally superior over others. So
Mhm.
entitled, didn't have humility, had a lot of pride. So no, it doesn't. There's several things that have to come along with the virtue, right, to be
Yeah.
actually virtuous.
I think virtue is gonna be more moral based, more character based, not so much like what they have done. Because I think a
Mm.
woman that could have a past could still be a virtuous woman. She could become a virtuous woman because of her experiences of her past that opened her eyes. Like
I don't know about that one.
because it's almost like saying like there can't be a reformed drug dealer.
I think a woman could learn morals, but I don't
Yes,
think
that's what
she
I mean.
could,
Like
like, if she had
could be
a
more virtuous than
past.
what she was before, is what I'm
I
saying.
got you.
Like,
Got you.
what I'm saying, like in that sense. But not like, oh, she's angel like. No, no,
Right.
no, no, no. This is what I'm getting at.
Well, okay, so that's a good one because just because a woman is a virgin doesn't make her a good girl, right?
That's exactly right.
Like,
So, and
yeah.
just because a woman has a past
Mhm.
doesn't make her a bad girl.
Like,
Like
I
right
don't
off
even
the gate.
believe in the whole good girl, bad girl thing.
Neither do
A
I. I just
girl
think
has
women are
both.
women.
She can be absolutely both. And this, I'm a good example. You know, like when I came into the media, everybody thought I was this bad girl because of these provocative photos I took. But in actuality, I've been with my husband my entire life. You know, it's like nothing that they made up in stories and tabloids were true. It was all lie. So no,
Yeah.
a woman can be a bad girl and a good girl. It's a choice. It's a choice on what she wants to do.
I got a question for you. What do you do when your spouse or your mate, boyfriend, girlfriend says no?
So this is good one. Good question. Okay. I think, and this is what I really think all men and women should do on the dating. They should say no often.
Men
Because it's
and women
all
should say no often?
men and women should say no often. This is why, because we talk a lot about like how men should have boundaries. We talk a lot of that. We don't ever
Mhm.
address that women do need to say no to men today. I'm sorry, it's true. Okay, let's be honest here. If a woman just says yes every single time a guy that likes her, where is she going to end up? Think about it.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying every single time a guy likes her, she says yes
Mm,
to him. She's going
mm.
to end up with a high body count
Thank
because she
you.
just kept on saying yes. Okay, I get
Thank you.
that. But she
Okay.
has to actually like him back, though. She has to reciprocate.
But she can like him a lot, but we all know that it's easy to look good on paper. A guy can
Yeah,
look he can tell you he's making six figures, living in a city, great penthouse, driving a great car, traveling every day, wanting to pay for everything. That does not make him a good guy.
absolutely not.
So this is where I'm saying say no often. And it can be as simple as, hey, let me come pick you up. No, it's not going to work out today. Just see how they react. See how
So
do
now,
they
okay,
turn it around? Do they turn to you and go, "Oh, you're having a bad day today." Do they deflect and make you out to be the problem? Or do they say, "No, I get it. When would be good for you?" You know, like,
is that playing games though? Is that where it's like, are you have to
you know,
are you playing a game with that? Because then
here's the
now could
thing.
that could be
Here's the thing.
problematic, right?
If it's an authentic no, if you are
Mhm.
authentically saying this is not a good time and it is honestly not a good time, then it's not playing a game.
Okay, that's one thing. But if it's like say no often and it's like, oh, can I go? No,
Yeah, no,
no.
it's not. It is not. You're not just doing it just all the time.
So
No, it's
it's
like
when it's
showing that you
necessary.
have. It's showing that you have boundaries. You want to see if that person
Okay.
respects you, right?
Yeah.
Because if every single thing that you tell them that's important to you, they're pushing to go against what is important to you. What does that tell you? That
That
tells you they don't respect you at
well,
all.
also it tells you you don't respect you. You don't respect what you say to begin with. So then why should they actually respect you if you think about it? If you're willing to move this line when you said this is my line and she's able to or he's able to make you push that boundary further than you're where you said it at, then
Here's a
you
good
don't
example. Let's say you're a girl, and I'm speaking to any woman that's listening. Let's say you're a girl and you like this guy, and you're really interested in him. You're talking to him through text message, and you're asking him some of these questions that we dropped in this pod, right?
Mhm.
And the first thing he says to you is, "Hey, let's just get together and we'll talk about it together." Okay? He doesn't want to address them. He doesn't want to tell you. That's a red flag. Because what
Really?
that tells you is that he's deflecting. He doesn't want to answer any of these questions. He wants to get you in person. It's telling you that I care about my fun and my excitement and my pleasure because I want to get access to you without knowing your boundaries, without knowing what is important to you.
Let me throw a caveat because okay, this is how I view this. One, if you send me a mass bunch of text messages, I'll be honest with you. I'm only reading the last paragraph. I have not
No,
read
yeah.
anything that you said before. Okay,
No
so that's
long
one.
paragraphs. No, no, no. Mm-mm.
Two,
I'm talking about one or two questions.
I think like text messages should be for logistics only, for the most part. When and where, location, these things, because some things can get lost in communication when you're reading
True.
them in text messages. And I think
True.
if there's anything important like this, these questions are very important because it has to deal with your future. So you could misinterpret something that they're trying to say and actually make it a red flag when really it was a green flag. It's just the way that you interpret it. You didn't hear their tonality and their delivery. That I think that could be problematic, right? I mean, that's why
I
I would,
agree.
if
I
he said,
agree.
like, you know what, I would love to answer these questions for you, but I'd rather do it in person and we can sit down and discuss this. I'm not necessarily sure that's a red flag if because he's saying that he's acknowledging that he wants to answer these questions for
But
you.
let me ask
So,
you this. It's one thing if he just wants to get together and talk. I get that. I agree with you.
Mhm.
It's another thing when he's trying to get you to have sex or in a place where
oh,
you are vulnerable to have sex. See, I don't think that this gets
that's
talked about enough online. Men do
yeah.
this a lot. They will say, let's just get together, but it's really to engage in sex. It's if they want sexual access, but they don't
Well,
want
yeah.
to answer the hard questions. They want the easy sex access before the responsibility. So
Now,
this is
I think
where I'm
would you say then the setup of it would be like, hey, you know what? Let's meet up over at this
let's have
restaurant.
coffee. Let's have coffee. Yeah.
Yes, have
Mhm,
coffee. Let's just chat,
mhm.
and then we go on a walk or whatever afterwards. It's just this is somewhere public, somewhere
Mhm.
less threatening. Because
Yeah.
if it's at a house, then you already have ulterior motives. You have more concern about that. So I can get that. Let's meet somewhere social. Let's
Mhm.
talk about this, and then have a good time. I think
Yeah.
that's a good setup. I think
But
that
I
should
think
like not give you that
yeah,
that
I
fear.
agree. I agree with you, but I just think that what's getting lost today is that most people are after the fun and the
Oh yeah,
excitement and the access to sex. They want sex on tap without the responsibility. And I
you know
think
what
that
that
this is
shows though.
where
And this was probably, I don't know how you would put this on your questions, but
Mhm,
asking them, um, how do they value sex? What is the
mhm,
value of sex? Or like, and not saying like how much like do like because you got to go understand sexual compatibility. That's going to be crucial, right? But you also need to like see whether or not like for this is for ladies. I'm gonna give you give you the game right now. You do not want to get with a guy that you see him breaking his neck at every piece of ass that walks by. Okay. If you see him like, what'd you say? Like that right there, it means that he does not have control
mhm.
over, he doesn't have that fortitude. He would be easily manipulated by a woman's sexual advances. Okay. That is dangerous. That means that guy does not have self control. He is an addict. Okay. He doesn't have that. And you want a guy to have that. So I don't know how you could ask that question to make it
You
fair for both.
that would you would have to be around him. You would have to watch how he engages. Does he have good eye contact? Like go like I said, go to coffee, go walk, show up somewhere public where you guys can walk and talk. Like it doesn't need to be a formal I don't agree with the whole it has to be dinner and formal. No, it can be a cup of coffee, but you can learn a lot from just watching their body language, how they if they're engaged, if they're looking in your eye, if they're willing and able to answer the question, they're not dodging it, they're not deflecting it. They're not saying, "Oh, we'll answer this later. Let's go do something else." Like that's a deflection.
So what do you think about compromise?
Ha. Okay, this is a good one, right? Cuz I know the whole oh you're not supposed to compromise or the guy should never have to compromise like I know that this is something like that goes on online. I hear it, but the
I
truth
don't agree
is
with it.
I think that there is not a single relationship that I have ever experienced and even with my own that you do not have to be addressing the wants and needs of the individual. So
Yep.
so you can avoid the word compromise all day long. Throw it out the window. Don't ever use it again. Okay. But now let's address the wants and the needs of your mate, of your spouse. If that person's needs are important, okay, which I think a man who is he's in charge of his element, he's leading in that space, he's going to be able to know whether that is an important need. Okay. And I think that you have to take that in consideration. And that need is going to take sacrifice. He's going to have to sacrifice some of his time or something to have that need happen. So,
I I think this is where this is where I think compromise is fine. Okay.
mm,
This is me personally. I'm not going to compromise on my relationship boundaries. That's not going to compromise. I would rather you not. I'd rather us not be in a relationship. Than me compromise or you compromise on something that is as foundational as relationship boundaries, right? Because it just ends up being bad. It just doesn't work out.
Correct.
So I'm not compromising there. And it's not like it's not an ultimatum. Is that I just don't want you to be forced to try to force yourself to be in this boundary box if
I
you don't
call
want to
them,
be
yeah,
in
I
it.
call them deal breakers. That's what I call
Yeah.
them. Mhm.
So I can't compromise there, but I could compromise with the color of the couch, whatever kind of however you want to decorate. You can decorate whatever. I don't give a shit. Okay.
So now I got
But
a
I'm
question for you.
hmm,
Do you think a woman can have deal breakers in her relationship?
yes. I think there are. She has the right to have deal breakers. Again, just like he has the right to have deal breakers. They just have to be. It's not even necessarily compromising. The way that they would frame is that they actually share the same like value system,
Mhm.
and these deal breakers are going to be compatible or complementary to their value system. Like, okay, let's say you're family oriented, right? And you're a guy that you want to have a family. Well, let's say you want to have like more than one kid. Let's just say she's not even up to like she's with family, and she's not even sure she wants to have kids. That's a value system issue. And
Mhm.
we're not sharing the same value. Like that would be I could end up seeing the guy having resentment
Oh
because she
yeah.
didn't even want to have one kid and she barely had the one kid and she hated it then. So like to me, that would be an issue of values. So as long as the value system aligns, whatever the issue is or the deal breaker is, as long as it's complementary to their worldview and their value system, I think it could work.
So the way I look at this is like what I said in the beginning. If it's about height, if it's about money, it's about fame, status, degrees. This is stupid. Like there, you shouldn't have this deal breaker. That to me is stupid. It's superficial. It's not good. What's going to last long term. Now, the type of deal breakers you should have is what you just mentioned: shared values, family, how you want to spend the rest of your life, how you want to grow old, mutual respect. There should be a mutual respect there.
Yeah.
If you're losing that on either side, got to handle that immediately. How do you handle conflict? If one of you are running out of the house and will never talk about a situation, just avoid the whole thing while the other wants to communicate, that's going to end the relationship ultimately, right?
Oh, it does.
Um, and then shared vision for the future, like which is your shared values, and then the genuine desire and attraction, back down to sex. If that's not going on regularly, that should be a deal breaker. That right there. If you're not doing that, if you're not keeping up with your attraction, how you look as an individual, if he met you, at a certain look, whether that be, fit or whatever, that's your duty. You have to stay that way, and vice versa.
What do you think about girls cutting their hair?
So
And like, let's say she had hair like you, and
if
all of a sudden
she
she goes to a pixie cut.
if she went to a hairdresser and they ruined her hair, I get
That's
it.
one
Like,
thing.
can't
That's
do
one
anything
thing.
about that. Okay. But no, just to go cut, no. I think any type of change that has to do with me, I don't care what it is, hair, makeup, boobs, whatever, pass it through your husband. Find out what
Oh
he
yeah,
likes.
I agree.
Find out what he's okay with.
You're like coming
Only
home looking
opinion that
bald head.
matters is your
If you come
husband.
home looking like Jada Pickett Smith, I won't be surprised if Joe's like, get out, just get all the way out.
Oh yeah, yes. He'd be like divorce immediately.
Like I know what
Okay,
comes with this. I
so
know
I
what's
want to.
next.
So before we close up this segment, I just want to encourage anybody that listens. You have to ask these hard questions. I know it's going to scare you in the beginning, and you might have like a little bit of a fear, like you might lose their attention or they might ghost you. But if they ghost you, you dodged a huge bullet. I'm just saying, okay?
But
Ask
you can
these
make these
questions and
fun
be
though, right?
intentional. And you can, yes, you like how you saw just one simple question. You don't send them paragraphs of stuff, okay, guys?
Yeah.
No, don't text that, okay? One simple question: how do you see your life 5 years down the road? Just that
Hmm.
simple question. Another one: how was your last relationship? How did it end? Are you still friends? How's your parents? How's your parents' marriage? Are they still together? These little questions will tell you so much, and you can read between the lines. And sometimes it's what they won't tell you. It's what they avoid telling you and kind of dance around the question that'll tell you everything about that person.
Okay, but all right, before we like close out all the way, we gave everybody a lot of warning signs.
Mm,
We didn't give them a whole lot of green light means
Green.
go, chase that shit all the way down,
True.
lock them down. How about you just run through them? Just do a gunfire.
Okay,
Rapid fire.
so
Let's go.
so green flags are going to be that they want to answer these questions. They're excited to hear them. They're eager. They're fully thorough in answering. They end it off with, "Hey, did that answer your question? Did I answer that? Do you understand where I'm coming from?" These are all green flags. Means that they're actually willingly trying to communicate your needs. Okay. Another
Mm.
green flag is if you tell them, "Hey, this is a deal breaker for me," or "No, I can't meet right now," or whatever it is. If it just ended with no and they're cool with it, "Okay, I understand. I'm fine. Just let me know when." That's a green flag. That shows that they are actually respecting your needs and they know your boundaries and they respect those boundaries. What else would you add?
I would say like I like that forthcoming, just being forthcoming.
Mhm.
Um like knowing that like whatever you're like whatever they say, like they're unapologetically like okay with it. They're not framing things because you'll know when somebody's trying to say something when you see your response, like, oh, like I don't mean it like that. Like what I mean is when I say like I don't want like kids, I mean like I didn't want like a bunch of kids in the house that are not mine. You know what I mean? Like when they start saying stuff like that and trying to like frame, they're not being authentic. If they're like, no, I just don't want kids. This is not me. I just don't. It's my
Yeah, if they flip flop, like if one
yeah.
minute they're like, "Oh no, I don't want this," and then you're like, "Well, I kind of do want that." "Oh, but then I might do it." If they do this kind of stuff, it means that they don't really know what they want and they're just telling you what you want to hear.
And you know what? We didn't get to hit on this, but as we're wrapping it up, I want to say this. You got to watch your thoughts because your thoughts become your actions. You got to watch your actions because your actions become your habits. You have to watch your habits because your habits become your character. And you have to watch your character because your character, well, that becomes who you are. So it's not about the money. It's not about the lifestyle that you have or the lifestyle you want. What it's really about is about who you are.
Mhm.
How do people speak of your name when you're not around? That speaks a lot about how people see you and value you. If people do not can't say that, you know what, this person is a upstanding person, this person has integrity, that this individual is a man of their word. I don't care how much money he has, ladies. I don't care how many Bugattis he owns. It's not worth it. If people say, gotta watch that guy, he's kind of shady, or you know what, that girl, man, she has a way to embellish things. I wouldn't trust her. Like she has an eye for certain things. These are characteristics and traits that people have observed that you should not ignore. And do not ignore bad behavior. That is huge. This whole thing that Gio's presenting had everything to do with values and character. Nothing about the 6 6s or what any of the things that are monetary that are materialistic that can be taken away.
Yeah, I mean, you could be completely enamored by somebody, and they could be, you know, you could have all the butterflies and want to jump on them. Okay, but if you don't ask these questions, you are going to end up in another heartbreak, and all this will end up making you bitter, making you angry toward the opposite sex, and you'll be one of those guys on Twitter just calling women trash, or one of those girls on Twitter calling men trash. You'll be just like the rest of everyone else because you didn't make sure that you ask these questions. They're very, very important.
And you know what? The best thing that for guys, we always say that we want to leave a woman better than you found her.
Hmm.
You can't do that if you're not properly prepared to ask the right questions, because you could end up hurting her more and you more than necessary.
And
So
ladies, there's a reason we can learn from everybody. I truly believe this. I've always said this. Everybody we come in contact with, we can leave them better. As women, if you're in a relationship with a man and you're not leaving him better off, you're not helping him learn something, from that relationship, what are you getting involved with? Like, always try to make sure that even if you don't want to get involved with that person and you've asked these questions and it's not for you, let them know, "Hey, listen, I appreciate everything that you did. I'm glad I met you. You taught me a lot about myself, but this is where I'm headed, and we're not aligned. We're not compatible here. I don't even like that word aligned, but we're not compatible.
We're not yoked.
Hmm.
But you know what? I'm about to get yoked. So no. We're about to, catch us on the next one, you guys. You guys know what it is. Gia, you got any last words?
Just leave your comments down below, guys, so we can hear what your feedback is.
Yeah, leave your message. If you've been through this already, hit us in the
Mhm.
DMs. We want to hear about it. We want to hear your nightmares. All right, guys.
Bye,
Peace.
everyone.